So, where are startup investors finding their best companies these days? We'll talk to an angel investor who says his best ideas don't come from the Valley, New York, or even Boston. He's teaming up with some talented people to build a new ecosystem in Rhode Island. Welcome back to another edition of the Angel Nest, where real angel investors and entrepreneurs partner to build great new companies. I'm David Hemingway. I'm a 5-time founder and now an active angel investor, and my mission here is to help great companies find the investors that will help them succeed. We don't make or recommend investments at the Angel Nest, and this program is for informational purposes only. Annette Tonti is here to tell us why it's Rhode Island's turn to shine in tech innovation. She's the managing director of RIHub, where she's combining unique startups, often inspired by the capital city's world-famous academic institutions, along with access to capital from a growing group of savvy investors who are finding unique value outside of Silicon Valley, Boston, or even New York. She's doing it all from a state-of-the-art innovation center backed by the government and an impressive list of corporate partners. Thanks for being here, Annette.
Thanks for having us, David. Very happy to be here.
And one of those smart investors is Tom Sperry. He's an experienced and successful angel investor who runs Rouge Venture Partners, which is an early-stage venture fund focused on undercapitalized regions like Rhode Island, where he says he finds great ideas, smart entrepreneurs, and always important for investors, rational valuations. Tom's done this before. He played a key role in helping Portland, Oregon scale its tech scene. Tom, welcome to the Angel Nest.
Thank you for having me.
And because as investors, we know there's nothing more compelling than a use case, we've also asked entrepreneurs Maggie Bachenberg and Trisha Ballakur to join us today. They're the co-founders of Points, think Waze or Google Maps for bicycles and scooters. Points is the product of the RIHub process, and Tom Sperry is their first outside investor. Trisha joins us from India and Maggie from San Francisco. You're both a long way from home in Providence, so thanks for making time.
Thanks, David. Thanks for having us.
Annette, what's happening now at RIHub that's really changing the game?
Well, for the first time ever in Rhode Island, there's an organization very focused on high potential growth startups. What do I mean by that? Usually startups that have something to do with technology enablement, science, etc. As a 3-time serial entrepreneur myself in this region, I recognize that we didn't have community, right? So we're here actually to help multiply the connections, to steal a little bit from Brad Feld and actually give those entrepreneurs what they need, depending on where they are in their journey. So that's what RIHub's all about.
Tom Sperry, you've been successful at helping small cities scale their tech hubs. Tell us what convinced you that Rhode Island has potential.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I would say that what's interesting about Providence and Rhode Island is really you need 3 things for entrepreneurs and a budding ecosystem to be successful. One, great deal flow or great companies and great up and coming ideas. That's one, and that's what's happening. And you can see that with the Points team and what's happening at RIHub. 2, you need that a place for that ecosystem to grow and flourish. And so that's what RIHub is. It's the center of that ecosystem, and really the entrepreneurs help build out that ecosystem. And 3, you need access to capital. The interesting thing for us at Rouge is we look at cities where there is a lack of access to early stage capital, and we see our opportunity to fill that void. And so Rhode Island today has some interesting angel groups, but no real local venture fund, and we're hoping to fill that gap.
So, Tom, what you're saying here is really interesting. Is it indeed easier to find high-value deals in a market like Rhode Island than in the big tech hubs?
We don't really have folks competing for deals. We see rational valuations. If you look at big tier 1 cities, New York, Boston, San Francisco, there's a lot of money chasing too few deals, and therefore those valuations are exponentially high, and the return on that money is questionable at best. And so companies in tier 3 cities where they don't have access to capital are much more rational on the first money in, whether it's seed or pre-seed money where we play. And then we really help those companies grow to that next level of growth where then they can go out and take a Series A deal from bigger funds through our network that might not necessarily be looking at cities like Providence.
Trisha and Maggie, please tell us about points and how RIHub helped you get started.
Thanks for asking. So points, the initial idea or inspiration for the idea began when I was doing a cross-country bike trip during my gap year after high school. And I noticed that it was really tough to find safe, reliable roads. And a lot of locals would know what the best roads were. So that's kind of where the initial idea was seeded. But then I got to college. I started doing some customer discovery interviews, which I didn't know the term for at the time, of course, coming from Southern Minnesota. But I started doing those interviews and talked to a couple hundred cyclists and people that worked in the government, as well as micromobility operators. So came to find this recurring theme of safety, which resonated with what I had felt during my trip. And the original idea was going to be more long distance cycling, but we found through interviews that the urban cycling space was a lot more relevant for this type of a product. So that's, I guess that's when we transitioned and started to map out what that product would look like. And we wanted it to be something that was tech enabled. So infrastructure, as you probably know, is pretty expensive to build, and there's not a lot of money going into bike infrastructure. And so we wanted to see if there was a way to use technology to find safer routes without having to build out all of that infrastructure. And that's where the idea for Points came. So it's a mobile mapping app for bike and scooter riders that routes you on safer, low stress routes in cities and leverages crowdsourcing to improve those routes. And Trisha, do you want to add on a little bit?
Piggybacking on what Maggie said, Points has its own proprietary routing that's created from two different methods. The first is through attributes of roads. So these could be based on the surface of the road, elevation, things like that. So more long-term characteristics, as well as a bit of crowdsourcing. So right now we have this safety scale for various segments of roads when people are riding, and they can go ahead and say how safe they feel riding on that little segment of road or on the route as a whole is. And that helps to influence the overall routing as well.
Tom, what initially got you interested in Points?
If you just listen to what Maggie and Trisha said, like, this is why you want to invest in these two women, right? If you know much about the venture space, one, for every $100 invested, less than $1 goes to a woman CEO or founder. And so at Rouge, we started a venture fund we have two funds. We have a main fund and then a fund for investing only in women CEOs and founders called the Rouge Women's Fund. And so our investment actually came out of into Points, came out of both funds, our main fund and also the Women's Fund. That's one, too. And if you listen to what Maggie was saying, biking and micromobility is actually a huge growth area, right? If you think about where a lot of money has gone into the Limes of the world, but also coming from Portland, a ton of infrastructure dollars have gone into taking more cars off the road, making the city greener, and they've spent a lot of money on bike paths, and it's a big bike friendly city. And we as a fund believe that thesis is going to continue to grow, right? So when we saw Points, a couple things came to us. One, two super bright women CEOs that we needed to back. One, two, we believed in the TAM, and we believed in that it's a massive opportunity. And three, we as Rouge came from Portland. We've got a lot of connections in the space, and I've already introduced Maggie and Trisha to some great mentors in the space. And so kind of everything I said prior fit perfectly into this opportunity.
How big a role did RIHub play in your decision to invest?
One of the great from my perspective working with RIHub is that we know that Annette and her team have really laid great foundation for all the different companies that are coming through there. And so for us at Rouge, that was another, positive, part of our diligence, knowing that Maggie and Trisha have been mentored by Annette and her team.
Annette, how is RIHub helping startups launch?
I want to actually focus on a couple things we do very, very well. First, actually Mass Challenge runs within RIHub in the sense that it's a part of our membership. So we do get a lot of good connections with what's happening at Mass Challenge. Brown University is also a member, and both Trisha and Maggie come from Brown University, as well as URI, IBM, and the Rhode Island Commerce Corp. But what we do, one of the core features that we have is venture mentoring services, which is actually out of MIT. So we have 75 plus vetted, trained mentors. We spend a lot of time with entrepreneurs in this kind of mentor framework. Beyond that, we offer courses such as customer discovery, since we mentioned that. And we offer pitch scrubs and pitch competitions and all the things you might expect an organization that really is a kind of an incubator more than an accelerator. We also offer anything that entrepreneur needs, depending on where they are in their journey. And most importantly, opening doors at the right time.
And RIHub's happening at the CIC Center in downtown Providence, which is a beautiful building. Trisha and Maggie, how important is it to have a place to go? Does being in person still matter to startups?
Yeah, we love the CIC. It's been really nice to work there, especially in the RIHub office. We got office space through Mass Challenge when we got in last summer, so the summer of 2021. And we were able to go and meet Annette at RIHub and got much more connected to the community because we were there in person. So
Tom, after 2 years of everybody sitting in Zoom isolation, does camaraderie still matter, and does it have to be in person?
I would say this: being a founder, an entrepreneur, a leader is a lonely job, right? In the best of times. And so having a central place where companies can get together and share war stories and be there for each other is so critical for any ecosystem, especially a nascent one like the one in Rhode Island.
Annette, do you have a particular kind of startup that you prefer at RIHub?
We actually, one of our objectives is to help those that have ideas to create startups. So we even start back, reach into colleges and universities locally, help them understand what to do with an idea and bring it there. But very specifically, we look for high potential growth companies. What does that mean? So not the Main Street business. We love Main Street businesses, but if you're opening a restaurant or a salon, that's great. There are other organizations that help you. We very much look at those that have potential to grow exponentially, especially outside of Rhode Island as well. And in particular, I'll also mention one more thing. Because we're in for the long term. It's going to take a while to build this momentum in Rhode Island and have people not leave to go back to some other place to get their funding. And so one of the things we all do offer is high-tech startups from other countries. Very specifically, we work with Israel very strongly, as well as India. We're just bringing India on now, but we have a deep relationship to bring high-tech startups to land, and we call it land and expand here in Rhode Island. 3 hours from New York and 1 hour from Boston. So we think we have a good deal.
Fascinating, Annette, that you're building a new ecosystem and that investors like Tom are finding great value here. So congratulations, Annette Tonti, Managing Director of RIHub, Tom Sperry, Rogue Venture Partners, Maggie Bachenberg, and Trisha Ballakur.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. It's been great. Feel free to, anyone out there, feel free to check us out at roguevp.com and find us and connect with us.
And I'll just add real quick before Maggie and Trisha say goodbye. With RIHub, we are absolutely looking to make more and more relationships with folks like Tom and other investors that might be interested in taking a look at the deal flow we have here in Rhode Island. And we do that probably in the fall is a good time to look at us when we run our lively pitch, where we invite people from all over the country that are interested in looking at the best and brightest here in Rhode Island.
Thanks for having us, David. We're excited about Rhode Island and RIHub and, of course, Rogue. And yeah, excited to continue growing the ecosystem in Providence and in the whole state.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. And for anyone listening, feel free to check out our app, which will be available on iOS and Android.
And don't be shy. Points is going to be raising their next round of funding in Q1. So all you investors out there.
If you're a great startup or an interested investor, you can find links to all of today's guests at our website, theangelnest.com. And now for the disclaimer that we don't make or recommend investments at the Angel Nest. This program is for informational purposes only. We do not independently verify and therefore cannot be responsible for the claims of our guests or sponsors. You should always do your own research before making any investment, especially in private ventures. I'm David Hemingway. We produce the Angel Nest with help from David Newhoff. Thanks for listening, and here's hoping my fellow angels and the entrepreneurs they support find their next great ventures. Thanks for listening, and so long until next time.